So, Tu Bishwat in itself is not a festival. Tu Bishwat stands for Tetvav of Shvat. The reason we have Tetvav is because we cannot say Yud and He. That is God's name. Yud and He is God's name. But in Jewish tradition, like Roman numbers are 1 is a eye, 2 eyes, 3 eyes. They had 2, 3 eyes, but similarly, we use the alphabet for numbering. And we have Aleph as 1, Yud as 10, Kuf as 100, right? You go on, Tav is 400. So Kuf stands for the letter, stands for the letter before Yud. So it is 9. And Vav stands for the letter after He, which is a 6. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, He. He is 5 and 6. So you have 9 and 6, which is a 15. So Tu Bishwat is the 15th of Shvat. Let us understand why that is the name Tu Bishwat. Okay. Now, what do we have about Tu Bishwat that it is celebrated as a minor festival today? The fact is, Tu Bishwat was never a festival in the Jewish calendar. What Tu Bishwat was a mention in a tractate called Tractate Rosh Hashanah, which is the Mishnah of Rosh Hashanah. I'm going to read you the Mishnah. Okay. The first Mishnah of Rosh Hashanah. There are 4 new years. The first of Nisan is a new year. Nisan is when you start Aries, month of Nisan. It is the month when we celebrate Pesach. Pesach is on the 15th. Nisan, the first of Nisan, is a new year for the kings and for festivals. The first of Elul is a new year for cattle tithe. But according to Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Shimon, it is the first of Tishrei. The first of Tishrei is the New Year's Day for ordinary years and for sabbatical years and for jubilees and also for planting of trees and for herbs. On the first of Shvat, our month is Shvat, right? Tu Bishvat. So this is the month we are talking about. On the first of Shvat, which already was, is the new year for trees, according to the school of Shammai. But the school of Hillel says it is on the 15th of the same month. So this is called a machloket. There is a controversy about when should we celebrate the new year of trees. The house of Hillel thinks it is the 15th and house of Shammai says it is the 1st. Okay. Now there are 4 new years. The first new year is for, it said it is for the king's new year. The second new year is Tishrei, which has quite a few things. Tishrei is our Rosh Hashanah, which is celebrated as a new year, but it is also for new year for sabbatical years, for jubilees, for planting of trees and for herbs. What does that mean? If Rosh Hashanah le Ilanot, Rosh Hashanah for the trees is 1st or 15th of Shvat, what does it mean that it is also for planting for trees? What does that have to do with anything? On the 1st of Shvat is the new year for trees. And there is a controversy about that. There is a difference of opinion. Hillel says it should be on the 15th. That is all we have about Tu Bishwat, the mention of Tu Bishwat. On the basis of this, we have what we celebrate as Tu Bishwat today. So now tell me, all those who have been celebrating Tu Bishwat, right? We'll open up for a discussion for a second because I want to go it from from what we do today, what has it basically evolved to? We will try and understand, and then we will try and see how that has happened. So what? By the way, I would like to begin by saying that this class is Le'ilu Nishmat, for the ascent of the soul of my grandmother, my mother's mother, Peninna Eshet Shimshon Turkar. Ruach Adonai Tenahena Began Eden. At the end of the class, we will also give a hashkaba because tonight is her anniversary. Okay. So we will be studying in her honor, and may the Torah bring us help us to pray for her soul for eternal peace.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay. So I am going to ask you all to open up for answers. How do we celebrate Tu Bishvat today? Let us take answers. Who would like to go first? We don't have much time. I am going to pack up a 3-hour class in an hour. So please let us do it as fast as possible.
Our traditional Malida with all the new fruits.
In India, we do a Malida with new fruits. Any other ways we celebrate it? Or you know that it is celebrated?
We pray for the first fruit of the tree, no?
We do Sheyanu.
We have, yeah,
blessing,
what you are saying is on the new fruit, you say the Barakah Sheheyanu. Yes.
Yes.
That is correct.
We plant new fruits, new trees.
We plant trees.
Very good, uncle. We plant new trees. Anything else?
Some passages are read during that period from the Bible, this book.
Yes.
Some numbers are there and chapters like that we read during that day.
Okay.
My daddy used to read some numbers and we used to all turn by turn go on reading for 1 hour.
On Tu Bishvat. Very
Yes,
nice.
yes.
You stay in Israel or you are in India? Whoever used to do this reading?
In India, Mumbai.
In India. Very nice. Very interesting.
Yeah. Daddy used to had that habit and we all used to sit in a round and 2 passages we used to read. All of us.
Were these Psalms? Would you know what these were?
I think we used to read it from the Bible, some passages.
Okay.
She is Mr. Masil's daughter.
That is right.
Joshua.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm aware. From the Torah. There are also Psalms and there
Yes.
are also Torah readings.
Portion.
Okay. Anything else? Have anybody heard of the JNF, Jewish National Fund? They plant a lot of trees. And they basically, for bar mitzvah or whatever, they go out to plant trees in the name of people who are donating towards that and make Israel green. So they do a lot of tree plantation in Israel on Tu Bishvat. Okay. Anything else? Benjamin uncle, you were saying something?
No.
Okay. I'll tell you a piece of information that is amazing. Amazing means very politically charged. Today, the Palestinian Authority They planted some 500 trees. I don't know, I forget the number. Some huge number of trees in honor of Tu Bishvat on Israel's soil, which is a military base, which was a military base, which they basically decided to plant trees on that base, so that it cannot be claimed by Israel. They want to have a forest over there. So that is Palestinian Authority celebrating Tu Bishvat instead of the Jews. Isn't that amazing? In America, if you go today, you will see that a lot of very secular Jews will take this holiday as the Palestinian Jews will take, the secular Jews will take this holiday to interpret that Torah stands for ecology. Torah talks about the environment, planting trees, of having a fair balance, and it does. There's no doubt. And they basically tag it and peg it to this holiday, saying that this holiday is meant for that. So this is where it has evolved. It is very nice that we reinterpret the Torah for very meaningful ideas, and it is a fantastic thing. I mean, they can also for sure go ahead and say that Torah is in line with being a vegetarian and being vegan and against animal slaughter and stuff like that. Also, but then that is taking too far. Because Torah is about shepherds and about cattle and sacrifices and stuff like that also. Anyway, but why has this festival really caught the imagination of our people and has gone to such variety of things? That has to be understood, right? And it is a very important integral aspect of Judaism today, that Tu Bishvat in Israel, in schools today, because of lockdown, nothing is happening on Tu Bishvat day after tomorrow, but otherwise boys and girls will wear white and blue, will go into different the schools will take them into different parks, and there will be plantations of trees, fruit trees, and otherwise every family will probably bring some tree and plant in their backyard if they have a backyard. So it is a very important thing from the ethos of how Israel has grown today to celebrate Tu Bishvat. Because the fact of the matter is, if you go on a helicopter, or even if you come to Maalot, where I stay, and I'll take you to one of the hills which is a little higher than other hills, and you see, because Maalot is on a hill, right? It is on a hill. It is a hill in the Galil, Upper Galil, and it's on the border with you can see Lebanon on one side. If I take you there, you will see across. You will see that up to where Israel is, Shlomi, you will have all the green mountains. The mountains are all green and lush, and immediately, as if there is a line of demarcation, the minute the border crosses, you have devastated desert. No, only shrubbery, dry grasses. You can't see anything. You just can see white mountains of Lebanon. Lebanon, the once which was a green lush, we talk about the cedars of Lebanon, right? And on the northeast, you will see Syria and the mountains over there also, all dry. This is called the green line. Why is it called the green line? Because on our side of the green line, you have all lush green forests, thanks to JNF. And on the other side of the green line, the Arabs are unable to cultivate trees on the mountains, which is very miraculous. So coming back to to this idea of how did it start and where did it start. When we lost Israel 2000 years ago, what was our life like? We were all landholders. Everyone had their own ancestral land. Every Shevet had their ancestral land, and the ancestral land could never be sold or whatever. It always came back at the Jubilee to the owners. So it was always a part of your family, and you were in that ancestral holding. You lived there. The way you worshipped HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God was worshipped in the temple, Beit HaMikdash. What happened in the temple? Basically, you sent your 10%, which is called a tithe, right, to the Beit HaMikdash, on the basis of which the Beit HaMikdash functioned. Now, that is the political reality of that age. Yeah, I want everybody to understand. This may become a little technical, but it is very important for us to understand. The story goes back to Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu, when he was running away from his brother Esau, saw the dream of a ladder, and over there he promised God, if you are you will be with me and you will keep me, and I will have bread to eat and I will have water to drink, and you bring me back to this land, then I will make a dwelling for you over here and I will tithe 10%. I will give a tithe. Yaakov Avinu came back, probably started the tithing system. That is why we have the tithing system. We went out into Mitzrayim. When we came back, we restarted that tithing system, which became a halakha. Not only that it is a voluntary giving by Yaakov Avinu, it was a vow made by him for himself. But we took on that vow that Yaakov Avinu promised, and it became a set halakha in law, in the Torah, and we are supposed to give a tithe. One of the basic pillars of Torah is charity, giving tzedakah. Where does it come from? So let me take the next, I believe I'll take next 10 minutes about how this whole halakha has evolved. You had 10% of your growth, agricultural growth, right? That is called ma'aser. You took that out. Before you remove that from your, say you harvested wheat, right? Let's take an example. We harvested wheat. Now wheat is in my storage, silos, whatever silos they have, and that wheat is forbidden for us to use. Why? Because Israel has a level of kedusha. The land of Israel is kadosh. There is something about that wheat that has grown in Israel that it is at a level that human beings cannot partake of it. Halakha, I mean, this is the Kabbalistic aspect. There is some kedusha to that food that it is unable to sort of sustain us in the regular way. Last time when I had taken a class, I had spoken about why is Kel Shakai called from the word Shakai, from the word breast, right? Shadaim in Hebrew are breasts, because mother nourishes her child with milk. The child is is not mature enough to digest other foods. So the food is basically passed through the system of the mother, and she digests it for him, and then the milk is digested food ready for him to use. Similarly, the kedusha, the level of, we are not talking about the food and the nourishment over here. We're talking about a spiritual capacity that comes along with the food over here, is beyond our capacity to really tackle it, to imbibe it. For that spiritual, because Maaser is only on the land of Israel. You grow anything in India in your backyard, you don't need to give anything, tithes, no nothing. Anywhere in the world, nobody. Only a Jew who grows a crop or a fruit tree or whatever here in Israel, a vegetable here in Israel, needs to give Maaser. So that is the whole concept. He takes a tenth from the word that I'm forgetting. Trying to see if I have written it down somewhere. It doesn't matter. So that food is forbidden for us till we separate a tenth of it. We just have to separate it and put it in a different silo, different bin, different storage. Once the food is separated with the intention that this is something that I will give to the Levi, then this food is permitted to me. Okay? This is called doing a maaser. Once you have the maaser separated, then the food becomes permitted. Now, out of that maaser, the tenth of that maaser goes to, it has a higher level of kedusha, it goes to the kohen. So you have 1/10 out of the 1/10, 1/10 of the 1/10, which is 1% now of all your food, goes to the kohen. The remaining 9% of that 1/10, right, goes to the Levi. You have to give it to the Levi, and you have to give. This is what used to happen. Because Levites didn't have their own land. They were basically supported by all the other Jews, all the other Shevatim tribes. Okay? Clear up till here? A little technical, but clear up till here?
Yes, Rabbi.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, this is called Maaser Rishon. Maaser Rishon, the first Maaser. Then we had to take another tenth of the 9 parts remaining. Now we have one part we gave for Maaser Rishon, right, which was shared by the Kohen and the Levi. Now whatever is remaining, we have to take another tenth of the remaining item, which is 9 parts. So 1/9 of the whole produce, right? And you have to separate that too. For what is it separated? It is separated for you to take it to the Beit HaMikdash. Why? When you go there for Pesach or Shavuot or Sukkot, you take this material, and there is a lot. 1/10 of your produce, you are going to use it in 16 days, because 7 days of Pesach, 7 days of Sukkot, and 2 days of Shavuot, or 1 day of Shavuot rather in those times, right? So you have 15 days that you have to consume so much food, another 9% of your produce. That you went over there, and that's why you celebrated without any, because you couldn't eat that in your home. What you could do is you could sell that, and you can convert it into money, and then again take the money to Yerushalayim and buy food with that money and spend it over there. That is a possibility, right? So you don't have to carry that material from wherever you are to Yerushalayim, but you had to spend that same amount of money in Yerushalayim. That made it necessary for you to go to Yerushalayim, so that for Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot, this is called Maaser Sheni. Now in the 3rd year and the 6th year, the Maaser Sheni was given to the poor person. The 3rd year and 6th year, there is a 3-year cycle. This is basically how the Jew worshipped in Israel. This is a part of worship. This is avodah. This is how the what we will call the temple Judaism survived. So it was a very important integral part of Judaism to have these maaser. Even today, if you come to Israel, It is only the rabbis who go to every field and take a maaser from them, and they do. But today it is whatever need to be given to the poor, give to the poor. Whatever needed to be given to the Levi, they take care of that. Whatever is supposed to be given to the Kohen, they give it to that. Whatever needs to be not be some things are like the Kohen has to eat them in kedusha. So there is no temple, there is no kedusha, though that has to be burnt. Then they throw it away and they burn it. Basically, they put it in such a way that it cannot be used because it has a level of kedusha on it. As I said, because the kedusha of the land is transmitted to the kedusha of the food, and we have to somehow make the food spiritually palpable for us. This is the whole idea. There are some that I'm talking about maaser. There are some other things also. For example, orla. The first 3 years you plant a tree, you cannot eat it. Only after 3 years you can eat it. Then we spoke about maaser. We spoke about the tithe of over here, cattle tithe. Every new cattle that are born, right? They used to rear cattle over here. So every new cattle are born, they had to be with their mothers, but they used to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 10th one they used to separate, or they used to put a sign on it, put a little color on it. So every 10th cattle that is born was to be sacrificed. It had to be taken to Yerushalayim, or you sold it and took money and bought new cattle in Yerushalayim and had to be slaughtered in Yerushalayim. This was the tithe, the 10th maaser, that you had to slaughter in Yerushalayim, and you eat it over there. So it is you eat it. You go to Yerushalayim with the cattle tithe also, and every year, whenever you go for Rosh Hashanah, Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot, or just like that, you have to take it. Then there is the first fruits, and which is very important because we have the Malida ceremony based on this. What is the first fruits? I have 2 trees. I'll show you something very interesting. If you can see here, there are some flowers. Just now, the flowering season started in Israel. Just now. There are 2 flowers. One is the flower of lemon, and one is the orange flower. Very, very beautiful.
Amen.
That's straight to my childhood when we used to play in Sukkot Shlomo Synagogue. There used to be a pomelo tree over there. The same smell of this flower used to be in my grandmother's synagogue back in Pune.
Badam.
Anyway.
Badam चा फूल है.
एक badam सा फूल है. Okay. So this is that has an almond smell. That is the first flower of the season. The almond tree really is without any leaves, but it has it starts off the season with flowers. Very beautiful. You see the whole flowering almond tree, full of flowers. The whole tree is only with white flowers, and with that almondy smell. The flower has the smell of almond. Okay. Coming back to where we were. So these are the first fruits. What did you do with the first fruits? Now after these flowers have started, in another 2 months time or a month and a half, you will start seeing the first fruits on those trees. So you see the first fruit that has grown and you put a plastic bag on it, or you save it. You know that this is the first fruit. Now on one tree there is only going to be one such fruit. You have 20 such trees for 20 such fruits, right? But you have only a few trees, you have a few fruits. You put it in a basket, and not everything is in the season. So for example, you have grapes. So grapes, you make it into a raisin. A few grapes, one bunch of grape, the first bunch, you make it into raisins. Or you have figs. You make the figs into dry figs. Put it in a basket, and you went to Yerushalayim, especially for this, the first fruits, and over there you made a basket. But with these fruits, you also have accompanying other fruits, because otherwise the basket will be very empty. How many first fruits can you have? I have one almond, one orange, one lemon. What? How many? The basket will be very empty, right? So I have to, the first harvest also, the first grains that come on, the first barley, the first wheat. I have just one thing of one spathe of wheat and barley. All that I put in the basket, and I go to Jerusalem and I bring the first fruits. But I also accompany it with other fruits, make the basket full, and then take it to Jerusalem, and then say Arami Oved Avi. You will see in the Haggadah we are using the same formula. But the whole idea is how you are connected with the land. The whole idea of tithing was how I am connected with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The fact that he has gifted me with this land. And this is a very precious land. Because, see, in Israel, when I came to Israel, I love to tell you this story. I studied botany. And that's why maybe I'm making this too technical, this class, because of my interest in botany. But when I came to Israel, there was an uncle, Malekar uncle, Mummy, Nuritच्या डॅडींचं नाव काय होतं? मलेकर, मल्यांकर. Mummy is here or no? Okay. Jeremiah, you remember? Nurit Malekar hai na? So I was invited to this uncle's house. He was our neighbor in Kalwa, where I used to stay. And he showed me he had a love for planting trees. And
Mazgaonkar,
Toda. Thanks. So Mazgaonkar uncle, he took me out. He showed me this is my orange. He had a few trees around his house, and he said, I have planted trees back in India. The ratio of the number of fruits to the number of flowers. So if you have 100 flowers on a tree, maybe in India you will get 25. 25 flowers out of the 100 will fruit. But in Israel, it is 95. So out of every 100 flowers, 95 flowers will catch fruit. And it is miraculous, he said. Then I went back and I started thinking and I realized, why is it so? Because there is a special beracha in Israel. Tal hashamayim is the dew of the earth. So there is so much dew in Israel. I had never really recognized dew. A little bit of there in India when we go, to a hill station or something, we see dew. But in Israel, everywhere you see a lot of dew, because of which the pollen get very sticky and they stick to the anthers, and that causes most of the flowers to fruit. This is a beracha. This is a blessing that is not there in India, although India is a very agricultural land. Also, if you think about it, Israel is cultivated for 4,000 years. We have agriculture, archaeological proof. It has been a land that is cultivated throughout, except for the last so many years, which it had fallen barren. But it was continuously cultivated, and it still continues to be cultivated. And you will see how fertile the land is, that it is one of the biggest agricultural places in the world. We are selling the material, how we discover whatever the different inventions that we have for drip irrigation, different kinds of housed growth. Forget the word. But what is it called? Blue houses? Greenhouses, and how they grow these trees. All these technology we are now exporting. All that, Israel is such a huge blessing. And the fact of the matter is, this is a prophecy that has come true, because till now, till before 150 years ago, before the pioneers of the Zionists started to work this land was fallow, full of malaria. It had all these infestations, and the land was all desolate. Nothing was working over here. People were wanting to work this land, but it was a cursed land. You will see Mark Twain. You will see so many other people will come over here. We will talk about land of Israel as a desolate land, as a land that can never produce. You have till the horizon you just see death and desert. That is how they have written about this land. Why? Because till the Jew came back and started working the land did not produce. As if the land has a personality of its own, which is what is written in the prophets, that only when the Jews will come back, I will bring it back to life. I will bring this land back to life. Anyway, coming back to our major point. So we have now types, and we have the first fruits, and we have all this system in place, right? And suddenly we lose Israel, and we are thrown into the diaspora. What do we have? We only can dream of Israel. But Israel is that land. We cannot make the types, and we cannot connect to the Beit HaMikdash, and we cannot connect to the service that was in the Beit HaMikdash. What must have been the feel of the diasporian Jew? Think about it. That's why it was so important for them to make this into a real holiday. That's what they did. They made Tu Bishvat into a real holiday. Now, what they basically did was, we will try and find a fruit of Israel and make a Shechian one. That is what is the basic principle, what they did. Bring the fruit of Israel and make a Shechian one. So if you have 7 fruits of Israel mentioned in the Torah as the fruits of Israel. There are many other fruits that are grown in Israel. So let us go and see what are the 7 fruits, because you will want to bring it in your Malida table, right? Dates. Eretz, Chita, Useora. So first it is mezonot. Chita is wheat, Seora is barley, Gefen Utena. Gefen are grapes, Tena are figs, Urimon and pomegranates. Please jot it down if somebody wants to remember all of them. Rimon. Eretz, Zed Shemen, that is Zait, which is olives, Udvash. And Dvash stands for dates. These are the 7 items that Israel is praised with. This is a land full of these items. But apart from these items, there are all these citrus fruits available in Israel. It is manufacturing strawberry today. It is manufacturing apples, like anything. Hermon, from Hermon, you have apples in Israel. You have a lot of foreign produce also. So try and, if those who are in Israel, try and see that they get fruit from Israel. Because the land is not, the baracha is, to begin with, we want to make the baracha on fruits from Israel. Because our connection with the land of Israel had lost. So we wanted to somehow reconnect with the land of Israel. That was the whole idea behind it. So those dates, so who are in India, bring fruits that are fruits of Israel. These are the 7 fruits, but you can also bring, for example, in Ashkenaz, in the European countries, especially Germany and Poland and all those places where Ashkenazi Jewish community was there. This was midwinter. Tu Bishvat was in midwinter, and we will come to that point in a second, why we are celebrating this holiday now in midwinter. What is there in Europe in midwinter? Ice. They cannot have fruits. They don't have anything. They cannot. So what did they do? They made the baracha on the only thing that they could get from Israel. And what was that? Carob tree. You know what is a carob? In India, when I was a small child, they used to play with this stick-like thing, flattened, with seeds in it. It will make a rattle sound. Carob is a very similar kind of tree, which has a very dry, thick, leathery, or if it is still dry, then it is basically woody bark on the fruit itself, and then inside it tastes like what is it called? The lal milta na India mein. What is that red food? The berries in India, red ones. You know, in the school, outside the school, they used to sell that. Jeremiah, what is it called?
Bor.
The suka.
Bor.
Kanya Munya.
It tastes
Bor,
just like the suka bor. That is what they used to have in Ashkenaz.
You mean cherries?
Not cherries. No, not cherries. I'm talking about a very, very, this fruit is not very delicious. It is although very nourishing and it has a lot of nutrients. It is a superfood, in fact, carob. So, but that is what they made the barakah on. The shakhiyanu or
Karvanda.
Karvanda
Karvanda.
Karvanda nahi, lal berry. जर्मा बोला ना बोर पण ते सडलेल्यासारखं वास येतो माहिती आहे, ते बोरांना सुकलेले असतात ते बोर.
छोटा
लाल. Anyway, so that is how far they went to make a barakah on an Israeli fruit and connect themselves to the land of Israel. That was the whole point of Tu Bishvat. And how do we do it today? So we have, first of all, let us understand how we celebrate the day, because I have only 15 minutes now remaining. So I'm just going to talk about how we are to celebrate and then come back to the main idea that I want to share with you if I have time. So in India, what we have a tradition is, because we make the Malida, which is a reminder of the first fruits, right? So this is not a first fruit. This is not the time for the first fruit. The first fruits happen later. Only in April, May, you will have the first fruits. We are only having the flowers now, as I showed you. In Israel, this is the flowering season is just beginning. We'll come to that in a minute. But we have the tradition of having a Malida to remind us of the first fruit system that we had in Israel. So we make a Malida. In the Malida, you can have a regular Malida. There is no problem that if you have poha or not, because poha is also rice. Rice is also grain. Grain is also important, right? But if you have poha, have Israel fruits. You can have 5, you can have 7, you can have 10, you can have 12, you can have 15, you can have 18, how many soever you want. Auntie has 20, I heard. You can have up to 35. That's what I hear. In Israel, this is also because now you have all these dehydrated dry fruits, right? Dehydrated fruits. So they have these dehydrated fruits. You can get very sweet fruits, papaya, but everything is a lot of sugar. So you can't really taste the fruit. That's what I think. But you have grapes and dates. Maybe grapes, you won't be able to get grapes now. Some grape species are there late now, but you can get raisins. So you get raisins and you get all the 7 species, and then you get.
No, but in India we have grapes.
Yeah, so
in India we get grapes. Yes, 2 types of
in
grapes.
Israel, it is winter now. It's the height of winter now. We are all sitting with coats. Very cold. Right. So now, once you have that, you make a Malida, a regular Malida, make a Hayat Sadama, whatever. After that, you can make a Mezonot, Hamotzi on bread. So that is Mezonot, that is wheat. Try and see if you can get some crackers for barley. Then you will cover everything. Because barley normally you don't have, but you have barley crackers sometimes in the market. In Israel, you will get barley crackers. So you should get that. And that is how you should have the Malida ceremony. I am not against having poha. That is our Indian staple. That is, we have used it, but we always made Malida only on fruits also. Like for the Brit Mila, after the Sunta, right? We had etrog. On the etrog, we made the Malida on only etrog and other fruits. We didn't have time after the Brit Mila. The mother was not there or whatever. She needed time for the baby. So we made it on etrog. We didn't do a whole poha ceremony. There is also a tradition of making Malida on rava, which is probably an older tradition because solet was used in the Beth HaMikdash. My uncle, Chaim uncle, was not very pro using solet. He said something in the Beth HaMikdash, let us keep it for the Beth HaMikdash. If we start doing it at home, not a good idea. But if we have a tradition and those who know how to do it, they put a lot of kismis and a lot of sugar, nice, very, very dry kind of rava they make. You can make a Malida, but when you make a Malida with rava, be sure to make the Mezonot first. You can't make it Hayat Sadama and then Mezonot. You have to make a Mezonot first because it is the first fruit that Israel has been given credit with. So you have to make a Mezonot first and then you make a Hayat Sadama. That is something that will vary when you make a thala or kiara of rava. Otherwise, on poha, you make a maison, shakol niya bidvaro, but at the end of it. And you have, as we have something to smell, and that also is important. As our tradition, we do everything as it is. Now, the Kabbalistic tradition. The Kabbalistic tradition has evolved like this. There are different kinds of levels of fruit according to their nature. There are fruits which have a shell on it, like walnut, right? There are fruits which have a peel on it, right? Like banana. There are fruits which you eat the peel along with the fruit, like berry, right? There are fruits which are eaten like or like a date, the whole thing. And there are fruits that has a smell to it, that is like etrog. Although it is not very edible, but etrog is the highest kind of food because it doesn't have a shell. It has a peel which can be eaten, and the peel is smelly. The peel itself has taste to it. So they try and get all these four levels with a walnut. I'm giving you an example with a shell, with a peel, without a peel, or peel is edible like berries, then without a peel like dates, and then something which is smell. The smell of the food is in the peel and the peel can be eaten. That are 5 levels of different olamot or different levels of how much they call it klipa. Klipa is like a shell, but on Kabbalistic level, the klipa is something that has to be converted. Whatever, we are not going to go into that. That will take a class by itself, and I don't even know a lot of information. I'll have to study myself. So, but that is the 5 levels. Then they have 4 glasses of wine. What are the 4 glasses of wine? They will start with a white wine. You can also make it only grape juice, or you can make it like we make sharbat in India, right? But you can make it with white raisins, and you can make it with red raisins, and then you have to mix the two. So it starts with a white raisin, then it goes to a little bit of a rosette color, then it a little dark rosette, and then you have the darkest sharbat color, red wine. That 4 stages. For these are Kabbalistic concepts towards this. It starts from the period of winter, where everything is dry and there are no leaves on the trees as yet, and then slowly goes towards bounty. And it is because it is the new year for trees, it is a segula that our year will also be bountiful. Will move from one level of it really stands for ice and snow, because the Kabbalist sitting in Sfat, where it does snow sometimes, and then comes to the red of the wine. So these are concepts. Now, as we said, we have some pesukim in the Torah. There are a few books that bring these Pri Chadash and I forget the names now, that have made a whole Yehi Ratzon Seder. Like for Rosh Hashanah, we have grape and we say Yehi Ratzon, and we have Dandana and we say Yehi Ratzon. There is a Yehi Ratzon Seder when we have these fruits. And it is about statements from the Torah, which that lady was talking about. Her dad used to read those statements, and they are pesukim from the Torah, which connect the fruit to the shell and to the fact that it is wherever on that Kabbalistic chart, wherever it is connected to different things. Okay, so but the whole idea, you have to recognize the whole idea. However you celebrate the festival, right? It has to be connected with the land of Israel, with the love for the land of Israel, and recognize the fact that the land of Israel is special. Now, coming back to the mahloket, the discussion, why on the 1st and the 15th? In fact, the halakha, when they say Rosh Hashanah, what it really means, you know what? shall I ask you, 31st of March, what does it mean for AV uncle? He was a businessman. 31st of March, what did it stand for you? Financial year of India, right? Income tax, right?
Ending, financial year.
It is the fiscal
Ending.
year, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So when we talk about new year, it is the new year for the business people who, or anybody who is filing their returns. From the first of that one, it is filing the returns, right? 1st of April, new year. Why is it in April? Does anybody know? I mean, today we just a remnant of something. Why is it in April? Why not March? Why not September? Why not December? The reason it is in April is because, yes, Auntie.
Spring ends. The season spring ends, and new season starts at that time.
So
that's
you're
why
right.
that yes.
It's
that
not spring ends, it's the beginning of the
yes.
spring, but you are right. What does it bring in? You know, wheat and
yes.
all the rabi crops in India are harvested probably in February, March, April. So all the bounty came in when the Britishers were there and they were giving us taxes, Lagan. Everybody saw the movie Lagan. When they were taxing us, right? When were the taxes? When did you have the grains in your store? It was March end. That is when you had the food. That is when they bought the Lagan. What is income tax? It is Lagan. That is why it is on the 31st of March. You understand? Similarly, now you have this idea that we need to have a year cut-off point. So the year cut-off point for the kings, the whole world, when is Gudi Padwa in India?
This year it's in March. Yeah.
No, it is not in March. It is first
Yeah,
of Nisan.
first of Nisan. Yes.
Yeah, first of March. Nisan. That is in March. You're right. Beginning of the Aries, right?
Yeah.
Lunar calendar Aries. So that everybody all over the world knows that the sun starts its journey from the first zodiac sign of Aries. So everybody, more or less, who follows, and all of the people used to follow the astronomical calculation. So everybody is calculating according to Aries. That's why we cannot say we are Jews, we will have a different calendar. Also, the fact that we were made into a nation on that month. On the 15th of that month, we had Pesach. We walked out of Egypt. So on the 1st of that month, we have a mitzvah to start counting the month. Now that counting of the month is for the political calendar. That is our political. We became a nation. We became a polity. We became the king later on calculated his calendar from the first. So for example, a king becomes old and he passes away somewhere in Adar. And on the 10th of Adar, auntie is tired. I'll finish in another 5 minutes. I'm already overboard. 10th of it's late in India also, I assume. Dinner time.
No,
I'm already eating into dinner time.
No,
huh?
No, Bacha, no. Actually, my back is paining today.
Oh, I'm so
That's
sorry.
why I can't. No, it's okay, Bacha.
Another
And
5 minutes, I think.
your
I will
explanation
be able
is
to.
good. I
Sure,
can't.
Okay.
we are on time.
We are on time. So coming back to our calendar. So Aries was when we became the nation, and that's a important what do you cornerstone timeline on our calendar. So whenever a king, for example, passes on and his son becomes a king, right? How do we calculate? We don't calculate, now he became a king in Adar. So from Adar to the next Adar, he became a king for a year. No, we calculate from Adar to Nisan till end of Adar was the first year. From Nisan will be the second year of his reign. That is the king's calculation. That is how for simple reason that you know how many years the king ruled. This is how he ruled. This is how we calculate the political year, and it has its reasons to be at par with other kings, to speak to them, to have contracts, to make policies, right? You need to have dates. How do you make contracts with other kings? How do you make business decisions? You need to have a proper date. You cannot say this king started his reign at some point and that's the first of the calendar, right? You can't do that. So that is the first calendar is of the kings. The second is Tishrei. Tishrei is the 7th month really, but that is the Jewish Shabbat. 7th month is 7 days, 7th month. 7th is important. 7th is the day of rest. So that month is basically something that we are devoted to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's why 7th month we have Rosh Hashanah, we have Yom Kippur, we have Sukkot. So many festivals in that one month. But that is also the month of calculating. Why calculating? Some important things like which will be the Shemitah year. So you calculate the Shemitah year from Rosh Hashanah. This next year from Rosh Hashanah is going to be the 7th year. 7th year is Shemitah year. From Rosh Hashanah you calculate. So all the fruits that come before Rosh Hashanah are grown before that period or taken down before that period are not of Shemitah, and all after that are of Shemitah. Or really that I don't have the exact principles for that. No, the fruits that are grown from Tu Bishvat, after Tu Bishvat, I believe Tu Bishvat is a cutoff point, but we will come to that. So that is the Rosh Hashanah of the years. Rosh Hashanah for general things, which is also for cattle type. So you had to give the cattle type 10% of your cattle who are whatever was born for you to the Beth Hamikdash. You went over there, did it on Rosh Hashanah. All those who were born from Rosh Hashanah before this year, all that was born Rosh Hashanah after that, next year. That is how you calculate it. Similarly, New Year for Shvat. Okay, so Tu Bishvat is the New Year for trees. Now, what is really, why in the middle of winter we have a New Year for trees? Trees are all desolate. Trees don't have a leaf on it. We just started some flowers, that is good. But otherwise, what is the point of making a New Year for trees in the middle of winter? So the point is like this. From the solstice, winter solstice, which was somewhere just after Hanukkah, till Pesach, this is the midpoint. So over there it took a turn towards summer, but it is midwinter. It is midwinter. Now it is going to be pro-summer. You understand? Now the winter is going to end at this point, but not only that. That is how Shammai thinks, and that's why he says the first of Shvat. Hillel thinks otherwise. What does Hillel think? Hillel thinks Yehuda came. You are discouraged. Please put yourself on mute. Yeah, thank you. So Hillel understands a very important principle about water. What causes all the tides and tides in the seas? What is the cause for that? You know,
that is आपला sun and moon both they start means
not the sun,
they have their pull. Yes,
it is the moon. The moon has a strong effect on the water on our planet.
Water, yes.
The moon is the cause for the water on our planet, right? This is proven now by science that moon, and if the moon would not have been there, there would not have been the water. That is the only speciality of our planet, which really made life happen. Now, the way this cutoff point is decided is because it is talking about types. You want to have a cutoff point, like we said that we have a cutoff point for taxes. We have the cutoff point for the king's year. We have a cutoff point for the seventh year is the cutoff point for the Jewish calendar. Here there is a cutoff point for trees. What is the trees are? They are rooted in the soil. They are nourished by the waters, right? Now, there will always be some kind of a water table in the soil, right? And trees are drinking from that water table. So I'm talking about large old trees, right? They are taking in from the sap is from the water system under the ground. Now this season, half the winter is over. In Israel, the monsoons, there are no monsoons. The rains are in the winter. Now this year's water has trickled down to the water level, right? It is already 50% of the winter, 3/4 of the winter is over. So now the water level is trickled down. Now will be the time when the sap will also get the new rainwater. So depending on the new rainwater, the fact that on the 15th, which is the full moon, because like the waters are abundant and they become a high tide in the seas, similarly, the sap in the tree also becomes a high tide and it comes up because of the full moon. And that is what is the cause for Hillel to make Tu B'Shvat as the birthday for the trees, because now the sap is of the new season, of the new rains. And from here, we make a cutoff point. All that grew before this was the tithe of last year. From now, say I planted something now, today. After 2 days, it will not catch root, right? So it will catch root only for next year. So it will be considered as whenever it will give fruit, it will be considered next season's plant. But I have oranges who are still sitting on my tree. I have not plucked them. But when did they grow? They grew before Tu B'Shvat. They grew before Tu B'Shvat. They are just on the tree, right? So I will be considering them as last year's produce. And it will be tithed accordingly. So that is the main idea of Tu B'Shvat, that you know when to make the tithe. Like, because you have the first tithe, I said, then the second tithe, you give it to the poor, or the third tithe, you give it to the, third tithe, you give it to the poor, the sixth tithe, you give it to the poor. So you have to calculate. Now, whatever is going to the Beit HaMikdash is like donating to the synagogue. Abraham uncle knows what I'm talking about. Magen Hasidim, he was one of the biggest bidders, right? To give is one of the integral part of Jewish life. If it is to the temple, to the synagogue, to the poor person, to the Levi, to the Kohen, to your brother, to your sister, whoever is in trouble, to the person who is even a non-Jew who is spreading a hand in front of you, to give is one of the most important concepts of Judaism. And where do we learn it from? We learn it from all these halachot of Beit HaMikdash. How do we serve HaKadosh Baruch? So keeping that in mind, I would suggest that we celebrate our Tu B'Shvat day after tomorrow, whenever tomorrow evening, whenever it is. And Wednesday, as Monday, na? Tuesday, Wednesday evening. Yes.
Wednesday, संध्याकाळी चालू होईल.
Right. And the spiritual ideas behind it, you have to be very, very conversant that it is about our connection with the Beit HaMikdash, our connection with the land of Israel, and our connection with HaKadosh Baruch. Thank you very much. Any questions, please? I would like to give a hashkaba to my grandmother, but if you have any questions, please, I'll just pull out a book over here. Please, I'm listening.
Thank you, Rabbi. I want
Thank
to
you,
say thank
Rabbi.
you, and we wait if there are any questions, quick questions. Please go ahead.
मला एक विचारायचं होता की इस्रायल मध्ये इन्स्टेड ऑफ फ्रुट्स यू ऑल कीप फ्लावर्स, न्यू फ्लावर्स फॉर दिस थिंग प्रेयर? No,
No, no,
you all keep
no.
fruits only.
Only fruits.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you.
Excuse me for a second. I'll just search this out wherever it is. Okay. Just stand. Please continue sitting down. It's okay.
ישת חיילי ימצא ורחוק מפנינים מקרא, שקר החן והבל היופי, שירת אדוני תתהלל, תנולה מפר ידיה, והללוה בשערים מעשיה, רחמנה ורחמנותה, דילהי ובממרה, ידבריו על מאיה, על מה הדן ועל מה דעתה, גנז בסכניות וחסדניות, ואובדן רעותה, ובממרה, ובקרה, ובתופה, יאמר למעל קדמו היא דוכן נפש האישה הכבודה והצנועה והנכבדת מרת, הזקנה פנינה באי אשת שמשון תרקר, רוח
אדוני תנהנה בגן עדן.
דאית פטרה עלמה הדן קריאות עליה מרת שמיה בערה, המלך ורחמה יחמול עליה
אמן.
עליה השלום,
אמן.
ועל משכבה יהיה שלום,
אמן.
יבוא שלום,
אמן.
ימחו על משכבותם, הולך נכוחו היא וכל בנות ישראל השוכבות עמה, בכלל הרחמים והסליחות, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן.
אמן.
We can't say the God, but let's hope that will be enough with our study of the Torah. Yes, any questions, please?
Thank you, Rabbi. Participants, friends, if you have any questions, now is the time to ask. Please unmute yourselves and go ahead.
Okay, I guess no questions.
All right.
It's also made in India.
Thank you to.
हाँ बोला अंकल बेंजामिन.
मला सुविश्वास बाबतीत काय बोलायचं ना आहे, मला बोलायचं आहे का तुम्ही आता कधी हे केला हाशकाबा केला आणि इतर 25 माणसं तुमच्या संगती आहे तर तुम्ही कधीच बोलायला का वांधा ना आहे.
डिफरन्सेस ऑफ ओपिनियन आहेत. मी
मला वाटतं का कधीच बोलायला पाहिजे का 25 माणसं आहे तिथं.
अग्रीड आहेत. तुम्ही म्हणता ते बरोबर आहे. कोणत्या राब्बी लोकांनी अलाव पण केलाय, पण हरकत नाही. मी थोडासा स्ट्रिक्ट आहे त्या बाबतीत. माझा अंडरस्टँडिंग कधीचा असं आहे की 10 माणसं एकत्र एका ठिकाणी आले ना तर each person has a quality in his makeup which represents a certain sephira, which is from the Kabbalah. त्याच्यामुळे 10 माणसं एकत्र येतात तेव्हाच ती कॅपॅसिटी परत आपण तयार करू शकतो.
एका खोलीमध्ये यायला पाहिजे. एका खोलीमध्ये यायला पाहिजे
आणि सोबत शिकलो त्याच्यामध्ये थोडासा फरक आहे.
कधीच बाईनी बोलायला चालतं काय?
सर्टनली बोलू शकतो.
बाईनी कधीच बोलायला चालतं ना?
हो चालेल ना.
There are many people say no. मी बोललो का नाही, कारण की राशीच्या तिन्ही मुलींनी बापसासाठी कधीच बोललेले आहेत. राशीच्या मुलींनी हसकाबा हे केलेलं आहे, सुनता केलेली आहेत. राशीच्या मुलींनी लग्न लावलेलं आहे. फ्रॉम दिस वी विल लर्न दॅट यू कॅन डू इट.
पण आपण राशी सारखं व्हायला पाहिजे ना त्याच्यासाठी. त्या
There is
मुलींनी ते
no
करायला
need. You have got to, you have to only to believe in God. You have only to
You have
believe
to
in
be
God.
मी
very
राशी
No,
सारखा
you have to believe in God.
believe, and you have to be very pure at your heart. Then only you are yes.
We have to try. We have to try. We
Yeah.
don't have.
Right.
We don't have all the talents of everybody. Each person has his own challenges in life. तर आपण सगळ्यांसाठी सगळेच राशी नाही बनू शकत, पण मी जोशुआ कोलेट तर बनायला पाहिजे. तेवढंच आपलं
God
चॅलेंज.
bless you, Bachcha. God bless you. You are Joshua Collett only. The way you speak, the
I'm
way
trying to
you
strive to be one.
राशीच्या मुलींनीच कधीच किंवा खुप्पा किंवा केला नाही, पण बुरुरियांनी बी केलेलं आहे. बुरुरियाने पण स्टेफिडीन बांधलेली आहे, कधीच केलेलं आहे.
खरी गोष्ट आहे.
शी इज असो डन व्हेरी नाईस. ती खबर कुठं आहे? बुरुरियाची खबर कुठं आहे? विल यू फाइंड इट आउट? मला मी सिक्का लोकांना विचारला, दे डोंट नो व्हेर इज द हिज.
ब्रुरियाची खबर जर्मनी आपल्या तुम्हाला ग्रीस मध्ये मिळेल.
हा, ग्रीस मध्ये, इंडिया मध्ये, इस्रायल मध्ये नाही.
नाही, because she was sold, because she was unfortunately sold in Greece as a slave.
पण मी एका तिने हे केलंय करून काय सुसाईड केलेलं आहे.
So she did that suicide over there, no?
there, yes.
That is why there is no tomb in Israel. Thank you very much for information. This information माझ्यासाठी चांगली होती, चांगली आहे. That is good. Okay.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Mr.
Ellis. I in fact remember you yesterday. I was thinking, how come I don't get any answers from you or questions from you? Long time no see. Good to see you.
To whom you are saying?
Mr. Ellis.
I don't know, something was wrong. Nobody could help me at that time. Anyway,
We'll
all the
see
best.
each other on Thursday now.
Yes.
God willing.
You're
Sure.
very good in explaining and very good knowledge.